Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, continuing to take a look at the next week's slate, heading back out to the Pac-12 as Utah heads on the road to play Washington. And this is a game that if you're a college football fan, if you're a Pac-12 fan, this is one that you've had circled since the early summer months, right? And what intrigues me most about this game is you're very well looking at probably the best offense in the country in the Washington Huskies, going up against an elite defensive group for the Utah Utes. It's going to be good on good. It's going to be phenomenal to watch as a college football fan. Really excited to get into this matchup. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys. The amount of support that you guys have shown for these game breakdowns truly does mean a lot. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And more importantly, best part about doing this is hearing from you guys in the comment section. Picks, predictions, keys to the game. Throw them in there. We'll chop it up in the comment section. Without further ado, let's get into this one. And I want to start right where we talked about, right? This Washington Huskies offense going up against the Utah defense, that number one defense in third down, top 10 in sack percentage. There's not many things this Utah team does not do well on the defensive side of the ball. Starting with this Washington offense, what I think is so special about this group is what you saw Saturday night against the USC Trojans. When you think of this Washington offense, you think Michael Penix, who is arguably the Heisman Trophy frontrunner right now, throwing the ball to a ton of NFL wide receivers. Rome Odunze, first-round NFL draft pick. Jalen Polk, another guy that's going to be playing in the NFL. Jalen McMillan, when healthy. Jeremy Bernard, Giles Jackson. There's a laundry list of playmakers from Michael Penix to get the football to. That's how they move the ball primarily. What I think makes this Washington Huskies offense so special is what you saw Saturday night, and that's Dillon Johnson running the ball 26 times for 256 yards and 4 touchdowns. For those who don't like doing math at home, 9.8 yards per carry. Dillon Johnson averaging almost a first down every time he touched the ball out of the backfield. What is excuse me? What does that say about this Washington offense? It's two-dimensional, right? When you normally think about this Washington offense, it's just throwing the football. And they can run the ball extremely well. Dillon Johnson, a massive get in the transfer portal. You talk about impact transfers. Dillon Johnson coming from Mississippi State, he is adding a ton of juice in that run game. And what's even more exciting and probably one of the most underrated and underappreciated elements of this Washington offense as a whole is how good this offensive line is. I mean, Michael Penix is getting sacked only 1.7% of the time. That is third best in the country. Yes, Michael Penix, an elite processor, getting the football out quick. There's a bunch of NFL dudes on this Washington Huskies offensive line that is keeping him upright. And when Michael Penix has a clean pocket to throw from, that's when he's most dangerous. Now, you look at this Utah team, and it starts up front. This is a group that elite against the run, and more specifically, that pass rush with a guy like Jonah Ellis, it's special. I mean, they're sacking the quarterback 9.4% of opposing quarterbacks' dropbacks. You're looking at an elite on elite matchup, right? A very good offensive line for the Washington Huskies going up against a very good pass rush for the Utah Utes. You look at what they did against Arizona State, only 83 total yards given up. Very stingy group that's physical in the front seven, has some guys in the back end. If you're looking at some keys to the game for this side of the football, it's the Washington Huskies being able to stay on schedule. Because when you look at this Utah team, why are they so good on third downs? Teams only converting 25% of the time. That is number one in the country. It starts with winning on first and second, forcing teams to be in that third and long situation where you have guys like Jonah Ellis pinning their ears back. And when Washington has struggled on the offensive side of the ball, we've talked about this in the past, it's been because they're not really staying on schedule, kind of getting forced into those third and long situations. So winning on first and second down, and then who wins on the money third downs, going to be a massive storyline in this game. Again, good on good, elite Utah defense, elite Washington offense. That's what has to, as a college football fan, that's what you have to be most excited about. Now, flipping the sides, this Utah offense, I think starting to figure out how to run this offense with Bryson Barnes, and it took a couple of weeks, right? You saw it was ugly against the Oregon Ducks. You go to the Arizona State game. What did they do to really help Bryson Barnes? That's run the football. And it's no secret what Utah wants to do. They're running the football 61% of their offensive snaps. That's number 11 in the country. But when they ran the football as efficiently and effectively as they did against Arizona State, it took a lot of pressure off Bryson Barnes, and it gave him some throwing windows, right? You look at the numbers, they ran for 352 yards, 7.2 yards per carry. And then what all of a sudden, Bryson Barnes looks like he's playing his best football of the year because he's comfortable back there. He has some throwing lanes to work with. And I think Utah's doing a great job keeping Bryson Barnes playing within the offense. Like, it's no secret, but Utah doesn't have Michael Penix back in that backfield. So they're giving him some easy throws, letting some playmakers make some moves in space. This Utah offense looks like it's finding its footing. I think Bryson Barnes is finding a little bit more confidence. I think it all starts with running the football. And so you look at this Washington Huskies defense, what do they need to do to slow down this Utah offense? I think they need to commit bodies to the front, to the box, right? If you can slow down Utah's rushing attack and make Bryson Barnes beat you through the air, that's probably the best recipe for beating this Utah team. And that's probably going to be the story of the game. This is a Washington Huskies team that did allow 200 rushing yards to USC, 7.5 yards per carry. They've been allowing 4.5 yards per carry to opposing running backs on the season. That's 84th in the country. If you're Washington, you're loading the box. You're daring Bryson Barnes to attack that deeper third and win it through the air. And then you look at what I think is probably the biggest storyline for the Washington Huskies and Washington fans. You guys remember us talking about this. Can Braylon Trice and ZTF be those All-American presence and edge rushers that we know they can be? And you saw that against USC. Braylon Trice has been an absolute animal the last couple of weeks. ZTF had the strip sack. You look at the overall numbers, sacked Caleb Williams 5 times, hurried him on 15% or 15 of his dropbacks. That's about 40% of his dropbacks. That's the key to this Washington Huskies defense. They got a really good back end. They got a nice crew of linebackers. Can you get ZTF and Braylon Trice playing to that All-American level that we know they can play with? That's what's going to make this Washington Huskies defense so special. Getting to the pick, Utah coming in 9-point underdogs. That's a lot of points to spot Kyle Whittingham. I know a lot of Washington fans have a ton of respect for what Utah and what Kyle Whittingham has going on in this program. When I look at this matchup, it's hard not to lean the Washington Huskies. I know Utah has an elite defense, but we haven't really seen a ton of defenses slow down what Michael Penix in this Washington Huskies offense can do. And I think for Utah, it's just a little bit too one-dimensional on offense, right? If you can stop the run and you know they want to run the football, it's really hard to see what this Utah Utes offense moving the football consistently and scoring points. For that reason, I'm going to be taking Washington, covering the 9 points at home. Again, I think you saw one of the best performances of the Washington Huskies season against USC. That is still a team that has Caleb Williams, a ton of NFL talent at that offensive skill position. This is a Washington Huskies team. It's the real deal, coming off a really good win. It is a hard team to bet against. I'll take the 9 points with the Washington Huskies. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.